I said after the 2020 election that the corporate media is the main, not the main, but one of the core vessels that rigs elections against progressives. Did you not hear MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, Washington Post, Associated Press, Daily Beast, BuzzFeed, and the rest of them stuffing down every human being's throat watching them that Biden was the pragmatic choice, Bernie's a radical, Biden is a pragmatic choice, Bernie's a radical, Biden's popular in the Midwest, Bernie's not, Bernie's a socialist, Bernie's this, on and on every single day. Did you not hear that? That has an effect. Did you not see after Obama cleared the field? After South Carolina during the Democratic primary, literally CNN and MSNBC essentially serving as a super PAC? As a super PAC for Biden? Literally holding rallies with Pete, Amy, Beto, Biden, wall-to-wall coverage of all these people stepping out right before Super Tuesday. And essentially not even hiding that they were cheering on for Biden to win on Super Tuesday and stop Bernie's momentum. Hell, Chris Matthews at MSNBC was comparing Bernie winning the Nevada caucus to the Nazis storming Paris. So when you have, let's just stop calling it media. When you have a massive corporate hijacking of the information airwaves that Americans and voters consume, that's what we're living in. It's not journalism. It's a massive corporate hijacking of the information system, digitally, cable, TV, print. When you have that, it's already an uphill battle for independent outlets to even compete with that. When I say compete, I'm not talking just about financially. I'm talking about countering the propaganda so that the truth can get out. It's already a massive. It's David versus Goliath times 10 to compete with that. That's why I've said it for, I think, 2 years, but specifically after 2020, I'd like to see progressive networks hosts come together, whether it's a network, more collaboration, whatever. I think a network is the way to go, where people have set time slots so everybody's not going live at the same time, and people could elevate each other's work, and you could build from there. Maybe it starts online, maybe it shifts to TV, so we could reach more people, including normie older voters. But this uphill climb that we have, the progressive media is self-sabotaging itself. And frankly, I don't think it's intentional, but holding back the progressive movement by swimming in these massive distractions and engaging in this massive clickbait, rather than elevating the real misery, the real corruption, the real stories like we just covered in the field. You don't necessarily have to travel in the field to cover those things. I think it adds a whole different dimension actually going there and covering these things. Frankly, most of the stories I've ever broke in my career were because I went in the field and built sources and spoke with actual living, breathing residents and activists rather than politicians and pundits. I owe every single story I've ever broken on Flint, including the ones with Jen, to the fact that I've been there 17 times. If I didn't keep showing up, I would have not built the sources I built, and I wouldn't have been able to get the information we got. But at the end of the day, this is not about whether TYT attacked wrongly Aaron Mate. They did. It's not about whether Jimmy Dore has a right to go after TYT. He does. If TYT wants to go after Jimmy Dore, I mean, it's technically a free country and a free press. Do whatever you want. To me, it's about, do we want to basically be TMZ / lowest common denominator clickbait and just be this endless conglomerate of hot take machines and commentary on other people's commentary and commentary on other people's fights. You could do some of that. I'm not saying, hey, everybody likes to be entertained. Everybody likes a little, a little food fight now and then. I'm not saying never cover these things. But I got to tell you, as a journalist who has over 6 years traveled, I believe, to nearly 40 states, many cities, have spent too many holidays on the road, have missed the first year of my nephew's life, got COVID because I was traveling on the road, probably did not spend as much time with my wife as I would have liked to in the first year of our marriage, or that I should have in the first year of our marriage. It is extremely disheartening and frankly infuriating to be doing the work, putting an actual face and voice to the commentary that a lot of these people talk about every day. The national commentary that Crystal and Sagar and Kyle and Jimmy and Humanist Report and Lee Camp and Jamal Thomas. Sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. Not because I'm so great, but because I just believe, and this is why we said this, who's going to give the microphone to the people? They're not going to get it from CNN. They're not going to get it from MSNBC. They're not going to get it from New York Times, Washington Post, on and on. But it's so infuriating and disappointing when you're on the road covering important stories while people that are supposed to kind of be in your sandbox, frankly, are elevating Twitter and YouTube wars. I want to be clear because I am not saying that this is drama that shouldn't be covered. I think other channels should have covered TYT spearing Aaron Mate. I have no problem with Aaron Mate going on certain shows to defend himself against slander and defamation. Of course, I would do the same thing. I do have a problem with the quantity, the length of this coverage, and at the expense of other things. I think these channels and these hosts, whatever the case may be, maybe you don't like me. That's okay. Maybe you're not as interested in the on the ground, in the trenches reporting. You're more interested in the national horse race, the national food fight. Doesn't make you a bad person, maybe, but maybe that's your core interest. But for the hosts and channels that truly claim to want to change the world and change the country, whether you're a commentator, an analyst, or a reporter, you have a responsibility to inform your viewers and to counter the corporate media propaganda. You have a responsibility, even if you're not in the field. And I think a moral obligation as well, to go a little further than Twitter and YouTube wars. Again, not saying put a nuclear ban on any coverage of personality stuff, of smears against certain people like Aaron, of TYT's shift right. That's not what I'm saying, because I have done videos myself at times on those things. The bottom line is, if these folks are more interested in getting clicks, if these folks are more interested in keeping, Twitter wars and YouTube wars, that there is some validity to covering it initially. But if you are more interested in essentially playing progressive while ignoring actual progressive issues on the ground, ignoring actual human issues on the ground, ignoring actual corruption on the ground, ignoring injustice on the ground, then frankly, at the end of the day, I think you should reevaluate what your purpose is in this line of work.